everyone, welcome back to Who's Views, and look who's joining me for another chit chat here on the show. It's PB himself, it's Problem Being. Yay!
Oh, the drama.
I know. Oh, no, more. You're right.
I'm good. I'm very good, thank you. Yes, I'm very well. Been really sort of enjoying catching up and watching some season 21.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, I've really been. I'm so annoyed. I'm annoyed, JT. I am annoyed. I will say it. I am
What are you
annoyed.
annoyed about, PB? Get
I'm
off your
so
chest, love.
annoyed. Well, I actually enjoyed Warriors of the Deep for the first time in my life. And on the special edition, the first 3 episodes were absolutely kicking, and then we got to see episode 4. And I know some people don't seem to think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal, and I think we've got to stop allowing these people so much leverage, because you give them an inch, they take the full 9 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm just so tired of the argument. Oh, it's just this, or it's just that, and it's like, no, it's not, because it's an amalgamation. It sort of becomes sort of a composite of all the just this and just that, you know. And I've gotten to the point really where I'm just like, well, no, enough's enough, really. I just don't see any justification for it other than you will like this, or you just, you know, not part of the club. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be part of your club.
Well, we're not, are we? I mean, they made that very clear.
Over
the last 10 years, we are not part of their club. We're not wanted.
Who's the audience? Who's the audience for these collection sets? You know, it's not your general Jodie stands, for example, is it? It's really not. You know, I mean, some of them probably, but that's neither here nor there. It's the point.
Many of them stick around though, PB.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, they've all scuffled away, haven't they, under the skirting board somewhere? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was something that you brought to my attention. I think it was actually on the Monday, wasn't it, when you got your box sets? Yeah. You were one of the first people, and I have to tell you, I mean, you and I talk a lot, so you know, I don't know if I told you this, but I got quite a few messages and emails on that day, on that Monday into the Tuesday, with people who were not happy about this. And you're right, there are people going around. I've had it myself with people I know. It's not that big a deal, but I know what you're saying, and I do agree with you in the fact that, you know, you give them an inch and they take a yard, and they continue to do it because they think, oh, no one's going to complain. And then those that people do complain, they suddenly become whatever it's going to be, a target for abuse. I mean, we saw this in the LGBT community. To an extent, you know, it's the same sort of thing. We turned a blind eye to certain things, and now we're all regretting it.
I think what it is, I think there's a psychological thing going on here where it's where we've been called consumers for so long, people have started to believe it. You know, I think that particularly in this country, I think we've got this tendency, or I don't, but we've got this tendency to not complain. And just to just go, oh, well, you know, under your breath, and that's it, that's your lot, you know. And I just don't understand it. It's something I just really struggle to get to grips with, why people are just so complacent. Well, it's not a big deal, it's just this, it's just that, and it ebbs away slowly, you know. It's like an erosion of land from the sea, you know, funnily enough. But it does seem to me to be this kind of, well, it's, you know, this kind of mealy-mouthed kind of don't really care too much, because as long as I get my thing with the logo on it, that's fine. And I just don't think that's good enough. And I think really, if you kind of let them keep getting away with it, the more they're going to keep doing it, until you're not going to be able to recognize your favorite show anymore. Well, we've seen that with the current iteration, but you know, even the classics, leave it alone. Anything from, like, I don't mind the special editions. I love the special editions. I don't want them to replace the originals, but I do like seeing certain things cleaned up or certain effects sorted out and things like that. No problem with that at all.
Yeah.
And I really was enjoying Warriors of the Deep Special Edition so much. But that one few seconds took me right out of it. I stopped and I had about an hour-long conversation before we could continue the rest of it about why this pissed me off so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it shouldn't be there. And not only that, the stupidly left in the line where, you know, that they'd only done this twice before. So why is there 3 different incidents then? You've obviously neglected to put some other Chibnall stuff in there, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, of course, I forgot about that. The Sea Devils were in his era, weren't they?
Yeah, and you know, his Silurians, what about them? You know, okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that as well, the Matt Smith.
Well, it's that easy, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh, you can ask me anything you want about 26 years, but I can, yeah, bits of the modern version blurry.
Oh, yeah, I've indexed and filed that away somewhere. You know, that's that other show.
Under B.
Yeah.
Not all of it was that bad.
No, I mean, I have actually been doing a rewatch with Jack over a course of a few months, where we've been watching the new era from 2005, and we've got as far as season 6.
Okay,
I actually enjoyed season 6 more than I thought I would.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Season 7, I'm worried. I mean, it's still nothing like our show. Matt Smith just pulls it out the bag for me. I think he's the best of the new Who bunch.
He's very good, isn't he? I remember being impressed with him at the time, just thinking this is a good actor. For such a young man as well, when he was doing it.
Well, that's it. Remember, we were all like, no, too young. No, there's no way.
My biggest worry when they announced it on that lovely, because remember you got that show, didn't you, where they announced it? And my biggest worry was, it's going to happen at some point. It might be a woman now. So I relaxed immediately, and I'd seen Matt Smith at this point in that Westminster government type drama, which I can never remember, that was on shortly before it. I can never remember what it was called.
I'd never heard of him before then.
He was very good in it, and it was. I was quite annoyed with it because I suddenly realised, he's going to leave that show. And not only did he leave the show, but they closed the show down, and the thing ended on a cliffhanger at the end of the season. And I was like, no!
Don't you hate that?
Yes. Why didn't they just recast or carry on? I don't know. I was really annoyed with it. I can't remember.
They did that with V, didn't they? The remake of V. I was really getting into that. And it was just season 2. The invasion really started to kick off. Like all the motherships sweeping in. Cancelled. I was mortified. And
they said it was because of money or something, didn't they? But it couldn't have been that expensive because it was all done on green screen, wasn't it?
I don't know. I just think it's just an American thing. It's like, let's dump some stuff onto TV, see how it performs. No faith in it whatsoever. Let's just cancel it. And never mind the legions of people watching it.
It's getting like that here, though, with the BBC especially. You know, let's do this and let's see.
I wish they do it with Doctor Who.
Well, 2026 we're talking now. It might well do. But it's not looking good for the modern version of the show, is it?
Well, I think it's kind of hilarious that, if the reports and rumors are true, that they can't find anyone to cast because everyone's too... Well, they've all looked at Ncuti Gatwa and gone, because they've seen what's happened to him, whether or not, he's good in the role or not, because he was terrible, but anyway, awful, the worst. I mean, I was watching a clip on another channel that they might or may not exist, and it was just so bad. It was that scene with the the space racists, because there's always space racists in this current era. The one with a lot of TikTok types. Yeah. And his overacting was unreal. I was watching it, I gasped. Like,
I even avoid the clip. I mean, I saw it once. That was enough. It's catalogued. It's there on the channel. What I thought of each episode. Don't need to ever look at it again.
Yeah, and exactly. But regardless of all that, there's got to be other actors. I mean, we've seen this pattern with RTD before with his leading men, haven't we? With Eccleston, now Gatwa. John Barrowman, another one.
There were a couple of stories as well, allegedly, from actors that have worked with him on things like Queer as Folk back in 1999. And one of the other things he's done, you know, you hear rumbles, don't you, about that? You know, so it's, I mean, it says an awful lot about, you know, I think it's because a lot of the actors are thinking, A, the show's not worth the hassle now. It's not going to progress my career. And C, I'd have to work with him.
Yeah, I think it's allegedly a bully. I do believe that.
Heard that. Yeah,
my opinion. And I think, well, we've seen it. You know, the way he treats fans who dare criticize him. You know, passive aggressive doesn't cut it. Just aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good for the culture of the show, is it? Because
or the brand. No,
exactly. Especially as he's supposed to set the tone. And tying in with what you're saying about the season 21 special edition of Warriors, you know, the fact that they are all empowered now to feel that they're superior, they're in the right, PB, and then the rest of us are just not. I mean, you're right. I mean, this season 21 box set is supposed to be for proper fans of the show, us. And the millions of fans they said go away who haven't watched it since I don't know whenever. And but the show up to the late 80s is their show, you know. And they'll like it.
Yeah, and it's not only that, you know, it's the same mentality and the same type of people, this bourgeois middle class who always, you know, float to the top at the BBC. Strangely, always wants to talk about colonialism. Well, what do you think that is? That is the epitome of colonialist attitude. This is ours now. We're going to make this our way in our image, and you will like it, and you will cope with that, and you will buy it, and you will do as you're told, and you will do this, and you will, and it's that mentality. And I'm like looking at these people thinking, that's a bit hypocritical, really, isn't it?
That's all they ever are, though. You and I both know this. All they ever do is they are so you know, pathetic when it comes to what they're doing, and it's all about them. You know, I've said before on our shows, as long as they feel that they are being looked on as a good person or quote unquote on the right side of history, they'll be as hypocritical as they want to be. And not, I mean, you and I have probably done the same thing. We've pointed this out to various people on social media. Do you realize you're saying this? They shut you down. They'll block you. They'll call you a name, you know, whatever it's going to be. And then because they've lost the argument, because they suddenly realize that their worldview has been challenged. I think it's exactly the same with these people. Look at all those clapping seals at all these award things for the TQ code that RTD goes to.
I know, it makes my stomach churn. It's so gratuitous and self-indulgent, and it's such a spectacle. They're nothing but empty suits, empty glittery suits, and all their virtue and all this nonsense. And it's like, well, yeah, it only for the people that agree with you, and everyone else who doesn't fully subscribe. And you don't even have to fully subscribe. You can 99.9% be there, and that would still not be enough. Yeah. And I just find them, I don't know, it's such incredible hubris, sheer bleeping hubris. It really is. And I just have no time for it. I just find these people insufferable.
Oh, I'm the same, as you know. I mean, I was looking at something today because apparently just the other night there, in March 2026, they had some awards ceremony, another award ceremony for, I think it was in Manchester, of course. In fact, it was in Manchester. And it was, what was it? It was, Gadio. It was Gadio Awards.
Oh, God. Them again. I
know. And I was looking at some of the pictures because they came up for some reason on my feed, which is something probably that it should never do. And I looked at all these pretentious idiots and looking at them and, oh, look at this and look at us on this night and look at us saying this. And it's so very obvious that the whole thing, you know, RTD has been at these things many, many times preaching from his altar when he's received some sort of tin. And he's been going on and on and on. And what I'm hearing now from some of these people, some of these There was a couple of drag queens. There was alleged actors. There were a couple of whatever they were. And I'm listening to their not on Gaudio, but on social media. I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm hearing him being repeated back. The far right, this, that, trans rights are under threat, blah, blah. What, for telling the truth? And I'm just sick of it, because he's had such an influence. He's been one of these people that has been up there, and they've all been clapping like seals around him, and they've all listened. And now they're starting to pedal it back. Oh, the far right, the rise of the far right. Oh, this has got to be stopped, and this has got to be stopped. And oh, our rights are under peril. Oh, and you can't have LGBT without the T or the Q. Yes, you bloody can. And I just got frustrated with it all. So I've been probably blocked now from all the social media.
Probably for the best. Let them get on with it, you know.
It's
dying on a vine. They're just too stupid to realize it yet. And you know, this whole catch-all, all right. What does that even mean? Let's be clear. I mean, what does that mean? Do they mean the NAZIs?
I think they do. And let's hope they never meet them, PB.
I've got news for them. They were socialists, okay? They weren't class socialists. They were national socialists. Exactly. They centralized the economy. They had a planned economy. They had a welfare state. They nationalized the unions. They took over businesses, and they put the bosses of those businesses, the owners of those businesses, into a position called leaders, and the workers were followers. But it was clear who was in charge at the time, and it wasn't the business owners. The only reason they were still business owners is because they needed to conquer Russia first to be able to actualize their socialism. But no, it didn't work out for them. It's not going to work out for these guys. It's just a bad idea, you know. And when they go around calling, and it's the same people who are calling everyone, you know, Zionists and, you know, all this stuff against Jews and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's so ironic, really. It's like, where's your condemnation? It doesn't exist, you know. And I just find that's what I have a problem with. It's not just the hypocrisy, it's the flagrant hypocrisy of it. It's beyond hypocrisy at this point. And I just can't stand when people have genuine concerns about cultural replacement or cultural change or interference with our culture and everything we love being subverted for political purposes rather than for entertainment purposes or for innocent purposes, you know, that it has to be subverted constantly for messaging. Now, if you want to call things the far right, well, maybe look at how you've managed to goad people. You've managed to demonize people. So, of course, people eventually are going to get to the point where the backlash happens. And people like us who are stuck in the middle of all this nonsense are going, well, thanks very much. We've been warning you of this for years.
Yeah.
That if you keep doing what you're doing, you are going to create your enemy where there was none before, because you called everyone far right. So then you get people go, very well, fine, I am. And then they're going to go and be what you want them to be. Well done. You create your enemies and you institutionalize that into our culture.
Yeah.
And that's what you're applauding with your empty suits, you know. And I just think that they are so deranged that they have no idea what they're doing, that they're creating this. And it's terrifying. And it's not far right. It's a reaction to the incredible stupidity of the radical left.
Totally. And stupidity.
No,
you carry on. You carry on. Stupidity is a good word, because it's stupidity and ignorance, because they're so wrapped up in trying to look like the right sort of person, but who has the right to dictate what the right sort of person is? And it's just I can't believe how this mental lunacy and how we've been celebrating it, especially since the 2020 carry on, you know, which will go down, in my opinion, PB, as one of the worst mistakes in human history.
Oh, yes.
But, you know, you've got this whole thing going on, and I reckon people went completely and utterly batty, and a lot of them still are. And this obsession with self, you know, it wasn't this bad before 2020. This obsession with people having to be seen on bandwagons, to be saying, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. I do. You use the word that. I find it tiring, and I find it right now. But you're right, and I do believe what you're saying, because they've pushed so many people to a certain point of view. I don't think the term far right now means anything, because it's
They've
like
devalued it. It's like racism or
exactly.
homophobia or whatever. I'm very supportive of the Jewish cause and things like that. But I think the word anti-Zionist is just as overused as anti-Semitic. I mean, it doesn't help when you hear these words and labels constantly used over and over and over again, because it just devalues it. It loses its meaning, and people don't care. That's the other thing. You've got to the point where words just people don't care anymore. When you've been told that words are violent constantly for years, and people just go, no, they're not.
We've got to that point.
Violence is violence,
Violence is violence. We've got to that point, though, haven't we? And especially in our country now, in our beautiful country, we've got to that point now where I actually generally see more and more people waking up. And certainly when it comes to what this bloody awful government we've got right now in 2026 is pushing, that really has opened people's eyes to be able to say, what are you talking about? That's not a race. You can't be racist to something like that. That's an ideology. They're pointing these things out. I've seen it also in the battles that we've been having for years now with the TQ cult. Thanks to people like RTD pushing all this crap, people are now starting to wake up, become more aware of it, and rebel against it, especially homosexual men and women.
Well, there's a phrase that I can't remember who it's from, but it's oft used, and I think it's absolutely perfect. I don't care for your booze. I've seen what makes you cheer. I'm paraphrasing it, but that's pretty much what it is, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. These people who boo and call everyone this, that, and the other, I don't care, because I've seen what makes you cheer. And that is, for me, far, far worse than anything you could ever accuse me of,
Take that, David Tennant.
Yeah. I saw today as well, another thing, is anti-Zionism, Zionist, all that means that Jews believe that they have a right to live in their ancestral homeland. That's it. And I saw Gareth Roberts, he posted up a GIF or whatever it was, a PNG or whatever, saying, I am a Zionist.
Right.
And I think that words are so easily demonized, and that's what the radical left do. They use these words and terms to demonize, and they have to lie through their teeth to do it.
So and what was the context in what he's done that?
I don't know. He just put that up. Just, I am a Zionist.
All right.
And I'm like, fair play. That's a very bold and brave thing to do in, the UK right.
Because he doesn't care anymore, I think. He's been through hell.
Well, that's it. I mean, there's only so much. That's the issue, isn't it? They can only whack you over the head so many times. Before you just go, what more can you do to me?
Well, I think that's where we're at as well. Because we've had to deal with crap from people that used to be in the same community as us for years now. Absolutely years. And this has got to the point now where everything's built up, isn't it?
Well, it's gotten to the point, I mean, when I started off, several years ago now, I voiced my concerns for what was going on. I'd watched the first few episodes of Jodie's run, and I was very concerned. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's so polite.
Yes, being very diplomatic.
Yes,
and I voiced my concerns on Facebook when I was on there, and I was immediately set upon, not only by the people in that group, but also the group owner, who chased me into my DMs as well, to before he blocked me, and telling me that I needed to off myself. Basically, that was the mentality. That was the branding, the birth of fire that I went through, that led me to where I am now. Through all these, I've got a file of over 800 screenshots of abuse that I've had over the years from X or Twitter as it was then. It's insane. You know,
I was thinking of publishing a book, PB, because I've got loads of receipts as well. No names hidden. I was thinking of putting them all in a book and publishing it.
I was told to. I was actually asked if I could do a sort of a piece on that by oh my brain. So I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning. The Father Ted writer.
Oh, Graham,
yeah,
Graham Linehan.
Yeah, Graham Linehan. He actually asked me if I wanted to do an article on it.
Oh, how lovely of him.
I should have done it, but that's when I got banned for quoting Mein Kampf to an anti-Semite who was saying that the bad guy from Germany was really a big fan of Zionism. I was like, well, not really, no.
Are these guys, are these people, this is why we need to bring back the mental asylums, don't we, really?
I know, Beslem, bring it back.
How did we get to a position, Arkham Asylum, how did we get to a position, PB, where we celebrate people that have obvious mental ill health issues? Why are we not sending them to professionals who can help them?
They're too busy celebrating it. They're celebrating it, not tackling it, and that's a big difference.
There's too much this namby-pamby stuff going around for me. Oh, it's all about, oh, why did you feel the need to do this and have this seat here, and oh, tell us everything.
Well, it all started when they closed down most of the asylums, didn't it? And they branded it caring the community.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, that didn't work. It's the community turned around and said, I don't like this. And they run rampant.
Walking around East London, that didn't go down well, did it? No. It's a mess, though. The whole thing's a mess, isn't it? Really, it just
and you know, I don't like sitting here talking about certain political issues. I was not particularly politically motivated as a person. This is what the radical left has done. They have controlled the dialogue. Well, I say dialogue, it's more like a monologue for so long that they have dragged everything and everyone, and everything you love is politicized, and we have to create conversations. That's one insidious phrase I absolutely hate. And that's where we're at. You know, you can't simply sit down and watch a piece of entertainment without being whacked over the head with some very one-sided political belief system, and then told you're a bigot if you don't like it. But it's like, well, excuse me, I've been watching this show in my entire life, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. Oh, you're just an evil racist or an evil bigot or you know, I've been called a homophobe. You know, it's like, what?
Exactly.
What?
Really? I love that though, when you know, because for the likes of you and us, you and I, who are adults, and there's lots of us like this as well, and there's lots of the younger ones that are coming through that have the same mentality.
Oh yeah,
and are having a hell of a time right now, where you know, within with the community that they're trying to get into. LGBT community has now been infected by TQIAA, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, whatever else you want on there. That they seem to change day by day. But we don't actually put our sexuality first. It's not our identity like these idiots are forcing. It's not our identity. It doesn't make up our own thing. So when we're having trying to have conversations or discussions, which invariably turn into something where you're called a name or you're blocked, and when you're putting these things, you know, the alternative or what I would call the truth to these people, and they don't like it, they go off on one. And that's what you get, isn't it? You get this whole name calling, and I think it's amazing when they call myself, oh, what would you know about it? You're homophobe. You've got nothing. And then I very politely and delightedly tell them everything I've done since the age of 19, being on the front lines and being in prides and being on pride committees and being in what was then LGB groups and writing a meeting with MPs and all this sort of stuff. And then they don't know what to do because their worldview again has been challenged.
Well, it's just mostly based in insecurity, isn't it? You know, so they have to project their insecurities onto other people because they cannot or will not accept any accountability for their own actions.
No.
to me, I see it as this is what the new middle class obsession is. You know, the new middle class rebellion, because goth is a thing of the past, so they had to create something new, and that's really what it is. It's just the new goth. It is.
I'd rather have that though, wouldn't you? At least
at least I look great. Yeah, better eyeliner as well. Tell you that for nothing.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's quite sexy on some people, wasn't it?
Well, I used to be a goth. I used to do all that, you know. But I'm at least self-aware enough to know that's what it is. You know, not that I'm pretending to be middle class, but you know, I count myself quite lucky that I was, even though I was in quite a poor family, we did all right. You know, we had a nice house, and you know, for the most part, until it got taken away. Yeah. But you know, I think I went to a decent school, even though it was bloody awful. I mean, like, wonderful Doctor Who club's the only reason I went there.
Did they?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think you've mentioned that before to me, actually, a Doctor Who club.
We had
a Doctor Who club at school. We never had that. You were just hit on the head.
We were spot rotten. We went to the BBC, but you know, we went to behind the scenes at Ghostlight for their dress rehearsal. We had Michael Wisher, Nicholas Courtney, J&T, Terrence Dix, you name it. We had them visiting our school to have like chats with us. You know, that was wonderful. You know,
happy days. You see,
very nice. Very. I balk at how, because I was still, you know, because Doctor Who had been off air for so much of the 80s, the late 80s.
That's right.
And really, you know, my first love really was Tom Baker as the Doctor, and I only caught the last tail end of his run, you know, the last 2 seasons, and I was very, very small. And when we had these gods, you know, of our show turning up at our school, you know, we were watching sort of really knackered black and white VHS episodes of Pertwee, and you know, all these really ghostly images that were supposedly of, you know, Hartnell episodes and things. Yeah, and it was, I just wish I knew what I knew today, you know, that I had known more at that time, even though we were being introduced to it through our club, that I could have sat there with Nicholas Courtney or Michael Wisher or any of those people and really gone to town with all my questions and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's my big regret, is that I just don't remember enough of it. I think because you're kind of starstruck when you're younger. So when I get starstruck, I tend to forget what people say. I'm so busy going, they're in front of me. And not really appreciating what I've got either. That you know, I could go back to when I was a kid and slap me around the head and go, you little shit. You know, you should have said this, you should have asked that, you should have remembered, you should have taken notes, you should have
and the photograph.
Yes. Yes. Oh, and that's the thing, when we met John Pertwee backstage of the opening night of the
Ultimate Adventure.
At Wimbledon Theatre. We were just standing there looking at him, and he was just looking at all of us in the faces, just going, well, is anyone going to ask me a question? And no one could. And I just said, can I have your autograph? Oh God, I could kill.
Well, that was the question.
I know, right? I just, because we were so starstruck, you know, but you're a kid, you know, but you know what I know now, all the things we could have asked, we could have said, and it's just what a wasted opportunity. Oh, I could have throttled me when I was a kid. Oh, Lord.
You're so lucky to have that, though. I mean, it's just happier days, really. I mean, I look back now at things like school and what have you, and everything was so much more uncomplicated. And you know, I've said this on the show. The Britain I grew up in has gone. It has been completely destroyed. I don't recognize the Britain I live in today, and I don't necessarily like it. But when you talk about stuff like that, it does give me a feeling of homeliness, if you know what I mean. And
yes,
warm, we had back then.
Warm feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
And everything back then, even though things were tough quite often, there was a certain, like you say, a certain simplicity to it. There was a certain, what's the word? There must be a word for it, but everything's so hollowed out now. Everything just feels so facile. At least then everything felt earned or real, tangible. There was something tangible just in the atmosphere. It wasn't this kind of never-ending fear of going to school the next day and you hadn't done your math homework and you owe someone 50p. No, that is gone, and this is the thing as well, going back to Doctor Who. It's Britishness, and I was watching an interview with Poetry recently talking about I think it was his last ever interview actually, when he was talking about how it needs to retain its Britishness, because this was at the time when they were making the McGann movie. And he talked about that, and I'm thinking, well, for all this equity and inclusion and all this kind of stuff and this cultural enrichment, which we saw today, the other day in Golders Green, whatever. But I'm just thinking, well, if that's gone, if that Britain's gone and it's not coming back, how can you have a Doctor Who? Because it's not British, it's not going to be British. The whole identity of Britain is undermined. I find that absolutely terrible and sad, and I don't see what we should be apologizing for exactly. Britain is a great country. It's done great things. It's done terrible things, but every country has. Everyone's had a go.
Still are.
Yeah, exactly. But for a nation that ended slavery or the slave trade, and that was a populist movement. That was a working class movement that started that up. And I think we should be awfully proud of what this country's achieved, and what it's brought to the world in terms of inventions, in terms of culture, in terms of, everyone talks about, Britain's got no culture. Well, Doctor Who,
We've got incredible culture. It goes back centuries.
Doctor Who's culture, that's just pop culture stuff. But I mean, we've got wonderful composers, writers, poets, you name it.
Architects, engineers, doctors,
inventors. And I just find it absolutely terrifying that you've got generations coming up. Not everyone, because I see there's a bit of a backlash now, especially from Gen Z, definitely. But
they're really peed off, aren't they? Good for them.
I'll have to say, right, as a Gen Xer, and Jack, Jack is he's a Gen Zer, and we've come to the conclusion we know who to blame.
Right, okay.
Boomers and millennials, it's your fault.
Do you know, the one thing about the boomers, though, is that because I think I'm right. I don't do all this generation labeling because I don't like labeling. I get confused. But I think the boomers are people that are before me. So we're looking at my parents and their parents. So they were coming off the back of the war, the Second World War.
Yeah.
They're the ones that actually bloody worked.
Well, they worked because they took all the bloody jobs. Not only this, when growing up, I noticed every step of the ladder of my life I was going up, right, was immediately curtailed. Oh, you should have, if you were just born the year before or the 2 years ago, this would have been given to you. You would have had this, you would have had that. They drew up the drawbridge behind them. They took the jobs, they took the cheap houses, they took the free education, they ended that. You name it. And they're so, I'm not trying to, tar the brush with everyone here, because I know there's going to be a lot of boomers who are going to be watching this. I blame millennials too. But there's a sort of an on-off thing, I think, between generations. One rejects the other, and then the other, rejects the other, and so on.
Well, so I think there's this healthy thing of, you would rebel against what your parents were telling you about, but it just seems to have lost that whole thing now. There seems to be an awful lot of people that are blaming others, when I just see a lot of people making their choices. Like, for example, I would advise people, and I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I would say don't bother with universities. If I had my way, I'd actually be closing universities down and saying to the kids, get an apprenticeship, get a job, and start making your way.
I saw a graph the other day of institutions that people trust and ones that they don't trust, and at the top was like
that was on our show.
Yeah, that was yes. My brain is not functioning fully, and yeah, but universities I thought would have been higher in the distrust zone, because quite honestly, that's where all the trouble starts.
It does, because you've got too many activists now in education, whether it be university or, God forbid, even in the secondary and the primary schools. We've got a hell of a load of far left activists in there who aren't there to teach, they're there to preach. Two different things completely. You know, and when you look at what I would call the blatant ignorance of some of the students now on campuses around the country, I just find it shocking, because they shut down debate. Connie Shaw, who you'll know, Connie Shaw, of course, went to the University of London or wherever it was a couple of weeks ago, and of course the idiots were outside, and I'm going to use that term because I don't like them. The idiots were outside going, "Oh, trans rights this. Connie Shaw is a transphobe." Connie Shaw, no, she's not. She's a woman who's saying a man cannot be a woman. And it's this indoctrination of these people. They would shut you down or cancel you or get even aggressive or even get violent against people that will not bend the knee to their way. And I'm just thinking, hang on a minute. That's the future society of this country.
Yeah, and are busy screaming at everyone else that they are the fascists. It's like, well, who's trying to control free speech? Who's trying to shut down dissent? Who's using violence as a means to an end? Fascists. And you lot, funnily enough. Yeah. Look, I think a lot of these people, when they reach 40 or 50, will probably end up voting Conservative anyway, because that's what they do.
If they're still around at the time.
Well, this is it. It's like, you know, if you're voting Tory when you're in your 20s, you've got no heart. But if you're voting Labour in your 40s or 50s, you've got no brain.
Yeah.
I think that's a truism. I can't remember where that comes from, but I remember reading that and cackling.
It's all changing though now, really, isn't it? As well, because
it's not left and right anymore. It's top down, as far as I can see. It's popular, ground up, and top down.
Yeah,
and we're seeing elites forming at universities, as it always has been. Right, this is the false dichotomy, the left and right, as far as I'm concerned. Keep them fighting, conquer them all. So yeah, for me it's always top down, because I call myself an outwinger, or upwinger or whatever, because people see politics in terms of left and right. It's like, well, that's just left, right, left, right, left, right, keep marching. And it's not. It's a three-dimensional world we live in, and politics should reflect that. It's a spherical thing, And I really think that's the one you really need to look out for.
Oh yeah,
that access.
But that's the thing that they don't agree. I mean, did you see that thing the other day? Again, I'm going to use Connie Shaw, who I like, from the Free Speech Union, and I was at the other day there. I was listening to something that came up on the social media, and it was Matthew Wright, who is an alleged broadcaster on a show on what's it called? Is it LBC or something like that? One of the radio things. Yeah, and it's one of these things that can get a little bit, up itself. So I don't listen to it often. And Connie Shaw was there, and she'd been asked on to talk about what was happening with the events in Trafalgar Square in London last week. And he went off on her. She was starting to do the whole thing about, well, this is this and this is what and it's not necessarily to do with free speech. And he started to go. He had already judged her, and he went on at her, and he wouldn't allow her to speak. And I'm listening to this thinking, this guy is so up himself. Because he's getting paid nice money, because he's got a nice house somewhere, probably in and around London, because he's secure in his job, because this is a young woman as well, possibly, and because he is so anti-everything. So he basically called her, a racist and shut her down. So she didn't get a chance to even put a point across. And I just thought that's where we're at. Judgment before anybody even opens their mouth.
Yeah. Well, that's it, isn't it? Now they're trying to stop courts having, juries and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, prejudgment, prejudice. So yeah, it's prejudice. Remember when journalists were a thing?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
It's a dead art now. I can see
Yeah.
that. But it used to mean that when you were asking questions, like they used to do, and listen, it was, you had to show a certain level of impartiality, or to play devil's advocate or whatever, to get the answers, to allow them to talk themselves into revealing the truth, right?
Yeah.
So that was a tactic we used, and you have to, as a genuine journalist who's claiming to want to know or get to the truth, you have to be disinterested. That doesn't mean uninterested, it means disinterested, which means you show no bias, and you have to stay aloof, right? That's the hallmark of good journalism, is disinterest.
Yes.
And that is lacking in the discourse.
Well, they're not taught it in college, going back to college, people. They're not taught it there because they're too busy shutting people down. And these bloody lecturers around them agreeing with them and saying, oh, such and such can't come and speak on the campus because that might make us look ist or phobe or ottish. That's where it's coming from.
It stems from this false dialectic, and it's again a Marxist kind of tactic, really, where they try to fuse two very different, very separate, very opposing views together. That's why these people can believe in two impossible things before breakfast. Well, whatever. Because that's what they do. So, and they also mislabel things. They label things opposite land, right? That's what they do. So when they use, let's say, critical theory, it's not critical in the sense of critical thinking. It's just critical of everything, and everything is subjective, and nothing means it. It's just cultural relativism. And that is pervasive throughout the academic sphere. And it's we've all heard the slow march through the institutions. We've all heard that term. And that's really what's happened. They've been allowed to run rampant throughout all these institutions, every strata. And now it's like, well, what do we do? Quite frankly, I think we need a purge of the, not a violent one, obviously. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need a purge of these institutions, of these activist class, who are, and we need to start treating Marxism the same way as the bad guys from Germanyism. Frankly, I think McCarthy didn't go deep enough in America. And I think we need to go deeper than that here, quite frankly.
It's interesting, though, that you're saying that as well, because we do have a huge problem, because these alleged activists, these far left lunatics, as I call them, are in government, the civil service, education,
fire brigade, police, bakeries.
Yeah, they are everywhere now, because from my point of view, this has come around since the turn of the century. And, I'll put my hands up. In 1997, I voted Labour. I was one of the millions that voted Labour, right?
Me too.
And now I regret it, because that's where it started.
Absolutely.
So that's 1997, PB. And I remember around about 2000, in the turn of the century, I was in a meeting in the job I was in at the time with other managers. So it was quite a high management meeting. And they were talking about all these things that was coming in under the Labour government, and Europe as well, that we were going to have to look at when it came to recruitment. And I didn't mind all the building alteration stuff that they were looking at and all that. I thought that made sense. But I remember there were older people, probably around about my age now, in my 50s, who were around me at the time, who were senior managers, going, "Oh, we've got to be careful with this. We've got to be careful with this, because this could mean we take people on just for being a particular person rather than the talent and what they can offer to the business." And I remember sitting there, PB, thinking, no, it's not going to get that way. And all that stuff that came about became DEI, and it has happened. And we've got hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people now selected for positions simply because they tick a box rather than being able to do the position.
Well, I can actually go back further than that. I remember my grandmother used to work in the civil service in county court. And she regaled me with a story when she was still working there. So that would have been in the mid to late 80s.
Right.
And she was telling me about one of her colleagues. Her son was 18, built like a brick SH1T house. And all he ever wanted to do was become a fireman. That's his entire MO. All he ever wanted to do. And he applied and he was rejected. He was perfect for the absolutely perfect. Everything going for him. The only reason why he was not hired and why they wouldn't be hiring him is because they were only hiring people of color. And that was then.
That was the 80s.
That was in the 80s.
When there was hardly anybody around to fill the positions.
Yeah. So that started that far back, at least, that we know of. Look, I don't have a problem with wanting people, diverse people in various roles, whatever, but do it blindly.
Yeah.
Just accept people for their qualifications, their attitude.
The job.
That's it. Naturally, you will find that you will get people in those positions who are not straight white male, because they will be right for the job, period. End of story. I find it deeply disturbing when you've got people who are absolutely 100% right for a position and they are rejected.
Oh, totally.
For the color of their skin, regardless of whether you're white, black, or whatever. That's wrong. End of story.
Positive discrimination is still discrimination, so therefore it's wrong.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing with going back to Doctor Who, you know, can the Doctor ever be a straight white male again?
Well, he should be able to, shouldn't he? Because in this world of diversity and inclusion, yes.
But that's the thing. Once you've gone down this road with this mentality, he can now no longer be a minority type, because now the Doctor has been a woman, has been a black woman, has been a black gay man, a white gay man now, thanks to Tennant.
Oh yeah, forget about that nonsense. Yeah.
So does that mean the Doctor has been a closet all this time, or is it just a phase, Russell? Is it just a phase? Yeah. Does that mean, like, oh, if he comes back as a straight white man, it was just all a phase? I mean, it's like donning a costume. I'm sorry, but it's not a costume.
Yeah.
And you've made it so. It's so, again, facile and empty and meaningless, and it's thrown people off. It's thrown me off. I don't like it when I see things I love having to be made to cater towards people like me for representation I never asked for. I don't need it. I'm not that insecure within myself. I can enjoy a show without a single gay person in it. Amazing that. I don't demand that the Doctor become a gay Jew.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need that. I don't need to see that on screen to feel valid. I'm valid because I exist in myself, and I'm happy with, you know, well, relatively happy with what I've got and who I am. That's fine. Yeah. I don't need to have it confirmed externally, you know, for what reason exactly. I don't understand the reasoning for it, because people need to see themselves. Well, go and get a job in an acting, you know, then go and do that. Go and become an actor if you want to see yourself on the screen.
This obsession that the industry has with representation drives me insane, because it's ruined everything. You know, I mean, you can't write a script now for a comedy, which is great and quite funny, and take it to people, because they'll turn around and say, oh yeah, it's good, but you need to have this in it, and you need to have that in it, you need to have, oh, bugger off.
Yeah, and you can't make jokes about that. You can't make jokes about this. You can't make jokes.
Yeah.
That's why there's no comedy on the BBC that I know of. Not that I watch the BBC, because I don't.
No.
But I don't know of any comedy by hook or by crook or by word of mouth or people talking about this amazing comedy on BBC. Have you seen it? No, nothing. And that's sad. You know, this company that produced 40 Towers, Blackadder, Young Ones, you know,
Terry and June.
Keeping Up Appearances. Was that Keeping Up Appearances?
To the Manor Born.
To the Manor Born, The Good Life, blah, blah, blah.
To the Manor Born wouldn't get made today, because it involved a very posh lady, didn't it?
Well, yeah, you can't have that representation. No,
not allowed to have that anymore.
That's the thing I find the most perturbing. And
30 million viewers, PB, were watching that show. 30 million viewers.
Yeah, and they would get it again if they produced something of that quality today.
Because the whole nonsense for me about this whole representation and inclusion stuff is it excluded more than it's representing and including.
Well, when you're catering to 0.3% of your potential audience at the expense of the general audience, and actively calling that potential audience hateful, evil bigots, regardless of whether you believe in the cause or you don't believe in the cause, just by dint of you being maybe a heterosexual white male, for example, for which I'm not, but I will defend them to the ends of the earth. That they are automatically bad, you know, and painting people as, oh, you're of this ilk, so therefore you all behave and think this way, and it's always like a huge cartoon character of evil. I find that deeply offensive. You know, and I can be offended on other people's behalf. I'm offended simply for it patronizing my intelligence.
And they don't care, do they? They won't care about that offense because it's not the right offense.
Well, you know, this is the amalgamation. This is what happens when you get generational change, where people of mid ability who get to these positions through narcissism or cronyism, often, especially at the BBC, will only hire people not as good as them beneath them because they don't want to be shown up. And decade after decade after decade, you keep doing that. What do you get? Diminishing returns, because you're getting people who are less qualified, not so good. And to top that as well, and adding on top of that, DEI, hiring people simply because of the color of their skin or or who they sleep with or what they dress like, rather than the aptitude for the job, you end up with crap.
Where we are now. You end up where we are now.
And that's how I see it. I look at Russell T Davies and him bragging about how brilliant a genius writer he is, and I compare him to the greats of Doctor Who, like Robert Holmes, just, you know, Terrence Dicks or whatever, who could write 5 Doctors on the back of a matchbox in 5 minutes. And I think there's nothing there. You're a mid soap opera writer, and you've got absolutely no idea about science fiction whatsoever. Clearly, because you don't know a thing about science. And that's a wonderful thing about those gentlemen of those times, where they were all-rounders. You know, they'd have long conversations in the pub about science or politics or, you know, events in the world, or, you know, and they'd have a grounding in a lot of different things. But with Russell T Davies, you look at his Wikipedia and you look at his everything he's written, it's gay this, gay that, gay this, gay that. Nothing.
It's so boring, isn't it?
It's just get the hell over yourself.
That's all he knows how to write, though, PB. He's even now shoehorned it into Doctor Who. He pushed it, kicking and screaming, into Doctor Who, and then made the Doctor into a prancing ninny, which nobody wanted apart from a minute minority. Not even a minority. It was a
Can you imagine, right, at GAY on a Friday night or a Wednesday night, it was a quid to get in, wasn't it? It was a move to Thursday at some point, didn't it?
It was Wednesday, Monday night, and then it was a Wednesday, and it was also a Thursday, and then it was Campertech on the Friday, and then it was the big act on the Saturday, and then there was a thing on the Sunday. I think I was there most days, actually.
Probably
the old days at the Astoria.
Can you imagine? I love the Astoria. I was so sad.
Wasn't the Astoria fab? And they bulldozed it to put that monstrosity of a train station there.
I've got a photo of the night it closed.
Have you?
Yes,
I've got some photos of nights we had there. Do you remember there was this thing that came out in the early in the 90s, which was a disposable camera?
Yes.
So occasionally I would buy one because you could put it in your combats, and then you go and take the photo. But I mean, kids, well, people today, not just the kids, but people today, if they're going out, you've got your cameras on your phone now, so it's always with you. We didn't have that luxury, so it's all in the head. But I remember this story very well. What a beautiful building that was.
Oh, I saw David Bowie there.
Did you?
I did. 1999.
Well, I was around to that point, of course, but I was going to GAY on the Saturday nights to see everybody going.
Yeah,
because everybody went. Madonna, Mariah Carey, Kylie, Steps, every bloody boy band going at the time.
And sometimes you'd have like some really big names, wouldn't you? Like turning up at GAY just doing a set. That was crazy.
Like Madonna.
Yeah.
That was her coming back, getting ready for her Confessions tour for her. But yeah, I mean, they also tried it out because we had this thing called the Pink Pound by then, which doesn't exist anymore because you're not allowed to say it either. But you know, they would come and see us to get the support because the music industry believed if you got the homosexual men and women behind you, mainly the boys as well, you had a hit. So I saw Sophie Alice Bextor there doing her first thing.
Saw her.
Yeah,
I was probably there.
And then everybody, they bulldozed it to expand Tottenham Court Road because they'd said that London was getting bigger and bigger and bigger with more and more people, and it was
they did that. They did that with that one building. It wasn't just the Astoria; it was Gossets. It was what used to be called the Tube, which used to be called Substation, which ended up being called the Ghetto. That got demolished. There were it was all the clubs in that region that were just completely demolished.
They destroyed our youth
again
within a month or two, didn't they?
Wiped it out. But what I was trying to say was that can you imagine, right? One of those supremo campus your tits gay guys being a hero like the Doctor running around. They would run a mile.
They
might run towards a plunge in that, but you know, other than that, but there was no way you could convince me that Ncuti Gatwa was a hero. That guy would run at the sight of a broken nail. I'm sorry,
and then he'd cry. And this was Russell as well enforcing this into the writing. I mean, Russell again. RTD and his cronies around him missing the entire point of what made Doctor Who successful because we didn't need the weaponmentation. The brilliant thing about the Doctor was an outcast. He was an alien from the planet Gallifrey. He was a Time Lord. He was not a human. He didn't share in all the human stuff. He wasn't sexual in any way at all. He was asexual because he was an alien. And that's why millions of homosexual men and women, as well as the heterosexual men and women, gravitated towards the series because none of that nonsense was in. That's why it was inclusive, PB. That's why it welcomed everybody. So when RTD and his cronies start banging on about all this and pushing it in, yet again, it excludes us because, you know, the likes of us who are not reliant on labels, branding, or waving alleged progressive flags which are homophobic, don't need to see it. We want to see a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey traveling through time and space, for heaven's sake. We don't want some mincing, high-kicking ninny around the place.
And I don't want a soap opera, and that is exactly what was brought to this. And, you know, and on the flip side as well, you know, making the Doctor overtly heterosexual, you know, having you know, a 900-plus-year-old Time Lord having it off or wanting to have it off with a 19-year-old Earth girl.
I was never happy with that.
And not only that, but to also revise the relationship between the Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith as having been more than just friendship. I was not happy with that either.
I tried to overlook that. It's very difficult to do, but they've made Sarah into. I mean, I was quite disappointed that when you re-meet Sarah, she's getting her life back. But what she's been doing for the last 20 years is she's been moping around. That wouldn't be Sarah Jane's way at all.
No way. And that's another thing, you know, I just wish they'd treat Classic Who as the Bible, you know, in terms of making television. That's your Bible. You
Yeah.
don't change it. You don't interfere with it. That's established. You can dip into it for references, but you shouldn't be able to go back and change things or, you know, manipulate things into being something completely else, you know, otherwise. I just find that this is where we've reached the main sort of critical crunch of the baggage that has been piled upon this era. You know, but they keep trying to. Yeah, it's too much.
20 years worth, PB. There's 20 years worth of modern Who baggage. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's got far more baggage than the original 26 years.
Yeah, which they've plundered. Like, oh, this is a stepping on point with Shooting Out. Well, season 1, and then, you know, Omega, Sutek, Susan,
all ruined.
All ruined, terribly done. And not only that, it's like, who the hell's going to know what any of that means?
Exactly.
You know, you're trying to bring in, you know, it's absolutely, and that's the thing, the soap thing. This is why when you bring potentially Tennant back with, you know, with Rose Tyler and all this is something from 20 odd years ago. People have to remember that.
Exactly.
How's this winning anyone over? How's it like? This is so soap opera. It's like Dirty Den turning up again. You know, that kind of thing. It's such a cliche.
Yeah.
And whereas, you know, you could dip into any story or any episode of Classic Who, and you could just jump in, and you don't need to know anything. You can pick it up as you go along. It's very easy. And that's the true testament. That's the difference. I just find it just.
Well, this is where these, you know, because at the point of recording this, we are still to see the 2 missing episodes that have been returned to the BBC for the Daleks Master Plan. And Tiny, what you're saying there, these episodes were first broadcast 60 years ago. And you're going to be able to watch them now, even as a not-we, and you're going to be able to appreciate what's going on. And you don't have to worry about being taken out of the story at any time by somebody's political opinion. You don't have to be worried about somebody producing something that's going to raise a question from a young member of your family that you're not comfortable in answering at that particular point. You're just going to be able to watch the Doctor battling the Daleks, as it were, you know.
I wonder if they're going to put a label on it saying, oh, this may reflect attitudes of harmful racial stereotypes or something.
Yeah,
you know that,
aren't they?
Yeah, I'm just.
I mean, I reckon they do that now, just so they don't get the complaints, because they can't be asked with the complaints.
Well, they don't care about our complaints. Why should they care about theirs? I don't know.
I think it's become part of the norm, though, hasn't it? It's become the thing to do. I mean, I've told you, I've been watching these older channels, well, not older channels, but these channels that are showing old stuff from the 90s, late 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s. Because at that point in my life, I was never in. I didn't watch the television. So I'm rediscovering all these things from years ago and watching them for the first time, because I don't watch other stuff. So I'm watching all these repeats. And I love them because that's my television. I recognize the television I grew up with.
Yeah.
And they've all got that little thing at the beginning. Oh, don't forget, I saw it recently on Dempsey and Makepeace with the lovely Glynis Barber and Michael. And it was at the beginning. This show reflects outdated attitudes of the time, or along those words. And I just thought, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that now? Are people who you think going to be offended at this actually watching this? No, they're not.
We're talking about people who celebrate kids being sterilized.
Yes.
How do you think your period of time will be looked upon in the future? You know, these moral arbiters are the biggest joke on the planet. They are the worst. Who the hell are you to criticize a period of our time in the history, which was one of the most pleasant-ish times to be alive? I mean, it was hard, but it was real. It was honest. It was a time when we weren't doing those things generally. I just find it incredible that these people who do these or support that kind of thing are the same people who are supporting some of the most banal to evil things. Like, it's like I say, you know, the same people calling Jews NAZIs are the same people calling other people NAZIs, whilst you know, it's like, well, do you not see how ironic it is, you know, a little bit? And we live in the post-ironic time, really.
You've got people like RTD, of course, and I've said this before, you've got people like RTD banging on about how the youngsters are anxious. I'm not bloody surprised. You keep telling them the world's going to end, or their rights are being taken away, or they're abnormal, or they're born in the wrong body. Shut the hell up, you judgmental idiots. If it wasn't for you lot, the kids would be growing up, hopefully with some sort of fantastic family base around them, and they wouldn't be as stressed. It's because you lot are telling them to be stressed.
Well, what do you think, you know, calling the rise of the far right is? I mean, you're immediately you're priming,
you're scaring
young people to scare them into action to do their bidding. And these adults should know better. And it's disgusting how they use and weaponize the youth to get what they want. And it's so disgusting. I just find it so irresponsible, dangerous, and deeply, deeply offensive.
It's also harrowing because you know, we're now seeing what the effects of that is, because we've got people supporting terrorist organizations. Exactly. And going and supporting those terrorist organizations in British streets at weekends. I'm sorry, I'd have them all arrested and put in lunatic bins.
I'm seeing posts on X and all this where people are putting stickers of swastikas up.
What the hell is this? I've seen this recently as well. And the police are turning a blind eye to this.
And it's the same people who, a few years ago were saying punch a Nazi in the street.
Yes,
you know, it's the same people.
Yeah. I mean,
it's the irony of ironies.
They said this as well. Do you remember this period that they had a few years ago where they were saying, basically, punch the gay man in the face if he doesn't fit in with the TQ stuff? That's homophobia. That's the old word for that, homophobia, which they're very good at.
Well, everything they accuse us of, they themselves are guilty of. And do you know who came up with that strategy? Goebbels.
What?
Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels. He came up with that as a strategy.
What new group is that? I was about to Google it. Yeah, okay, go on. Yeah.
You might miss a number one hit back in 1939. But yeah, that's a tactic that he used in propaganda.
Yes, it's true, actually, wasn't it? And yeah, you're right. From what I know about that, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it's fine. This is the United Kingdom, and we've got people rolling over because of their own pomposity, their own ability to think I must be like people in the media, especially, and we all know whom I'm talking about. Look at me. I'm on the right side of history. Are you really? Are you really?
Who else said that?
Parenting skills. I question your outlook on life. I question your ignorance. I question the fact that you cannot go from A to C. You know, I mean, come on.
Well, who else said that? You know, who else claimed to be on the right side of history? Got a clue for you.
Yeah. There's naughty people.
The very naughty people in Germany said exactly the same thing. And I just find it's amazing. You know, you got the world's knowledge at your fingertips, and none of them could be bothered to actually investigate what they're talking about. They just
and people in authority are letting them PB. People in authority are turning a blind. Do you know what? I don't know if I've said this before, but I definitely have to my friends and family. I think that this whole thing about the public sector and some of the businesses turning a blind eye is because of this thing that they are forced to go on called unconscious bias training.
Oh, so insidious. That is a brainwashing thing. I know, because one of my friends who passed away very recently, a detransitioner. He a very talented, very great guy. Very messed up by this experience. His body was decaying, all the rest of it. You have no idea. But he was the one who told me, because he was obviously deeply entrenched in all the TQ stuff at the time. told me that a lot of these unconscious bias training and stuff like that was set up by individuals or groups of people, the TQ generally, who would go into businesses and go, we want to do your DEI training or whatever it was called at the time. We want to do training about the TQ stuff.
Yep.
And if you say no, and by the way, we're going to charge you 80,000 or 800,000, whatever it is, 80,000, I think, yeah, £80,000 a session. And if you say no, which they inevitably would do, we're going to go onto Twitter and we're going to expose you as transphobe.
It's called blackmail.
Blackmail, extortion.
Yep.
That is how they've gotten away with it. That's why it was so impactful and why it lasted so long, because they got people over the barrel, because they'd already managed to capture much of social media. We saw it. If anyone said anything, you get thousands piling on, usually bot accounts. At the time we didn't know this, but yeah, and it's through terrorism, effectively online terrorism, and that's what it should be called, and that's what it should be noted as in history. And I'm sorry, if you're the good guys and you're doing the good things, why do you need to lie? Why do you need to extort? Why do you need to threaten and blackmail? Because again, your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. And
the other organization, of course, the other organization that, of course, that was guilty of this was Stonewall.
Oh yeah, them and many
in the businesses already, because of all the great work that a lot of us did in the 90s, especially, of making sure that same-sex attracted men and women, homosexuals, were treated like anybody else in the workplace. But because they had that route into the business as well, they started to push the TQ cult agenda. Do you know, I don't think I've ever told you, but I got into a hell of a lot of trouble at a previous job because I refused point blank to go on unconscious bias training.
Good for you.
I refused, and this was in a sector which involved, big people in the civil service, and it got to a point where certain civil servants were trying to have me fired for questioning. And saying, no, I am not going to go onto this, and being told that I am this and that because of the color of my skin, because I am not.
You could have taken to the effing cleaners for that, I tell you.
Well, I threatened them to do it because it was coming back. They were giving me a tough time, and I got so annoyed with it at the time. And knowing they were after me, I turned around and said, look, if any of you want to continue this, then fire me, and I'll see you in court.
Absolutely. That's the only way.
For a while. I got a bit of a respite from it, when I'm actually thinking now, there's no point me continuing with this because they're after me. They're going to find something on me now. They're going to try and dig up something, or they're going to put me in a position. And I was right. But I just think that, I'm very bitter when it comes to this unconscious bias. And you don't hear about it much now, but I think it's still out there. And I would say to anybody, if you are told, because they actually said to me, if you don't go on to this, you will be disciplined. And again, I said, do it then. Thinking, right, I will get onto a solicitor immediately.
Yeah. Join the Free Speech Union. I've
been a member for about 3 years now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love the Free Speech Union. Well, I knew when it was all kicking off with this, I knew they're setting you up to fail.
Absolutely.
It's not about the work. It's not about how good you are. It's not about how creative you've been and the successes you've had over so many years. It's about the fact you will not do what you are being told to do.
Well, this was all set up before gay marriage became a thing, because there were a group of Q activists, because there wasn't really a TQ then, because trans people would balk at the idea of being associated with gays at all.
Because they're heterosexual.
They're heterosexual. They did not like it at all.
No.
From my own experience, from talking to
and mine as well. Yeah, they would say, well, we've got nothing in common because because they're heterosexual. They might try and alter with ridiculous drugs and stuff their gender, but their sexuality remains intact. So a straight man that becomes a trans woman is still heterosexual because he still fancies women. That doesn't make him a lesbian, because he's not.
Well, this is it. You remember, what was it, about 95, I think it was, when they introduced the B, wasn't it?
Oh,
and then they about 2000 something, they introduced the T, which was then transsexual. And then they added the Q. And, you know, funny you mentioned about daring to question them. I mean, they managed to erase the Q, meaning questioning. That's what the Q meant. Questioning. Yeah. If you were unsure of your sexuality, questioning. Now they made it, oh, so it's been Q. Q means queer. No, it's never been that. It was always, and I tell you, it's because back in the day when gay marriage was becoming a thing, there were the Q activists who were actively going against it. Why, you may add? Oh, well, it's very simple. They thought that it was heteronormativity, that you would stop the Q revolution. This is how mad they were, people, from achieving their goals to queer society. By us becoming more like heterosexuals, they thought they were not going to be able to use their activism to radicalize gays. So that's why they opposed it, and that's why today they've managed to infiltrate everything, and to subvert everything, to subvert the LGB. I had no problem with the B being added; that's absolutely fine. But then, you know, gender and all this identity stuff has nothing to do with who you fancy, really. You know, I mean, you can fancy a bloke in a dress if you want. Still a bloke in a dress, so I question your sexuality. But anyway,
me too. Me too.
My business.
No, well, that's the thing. It's nobody's business. But again, I blame these universities from around the world that introduced this thing called gender studies. I remember once saying to this young woman, I hate to think where she is now, years ago, in a pub in Soho, and we were introduced to it. And I said, "Oh, so what do you do?" "I'm a student." "Oh, lovely. What are you studying?" "Gender studies." And I remember saying something along the lines of, "Well, what's that then? How can you study only men and women?" And she said, "Oh, no, there's lots more than that. There's more than two genders." I said, "Well, shut up. Don't be ridiculous. There isn't. You're in a gay bar. You can't say that. There's a man over there. There's a woman over there. End of story." If I only had known then where it was going to go, I would have challenged her even more.
Well, remember when I said I was called a homophobe?
Yeah.
That was because I refused to accept a trans man as a gay man.
Trans men are not gay men.
No, it's a woman.
It's a heterosexual woman.
So I get called the homophobe for them trying to foist a female onto me. Like, what are you talking
that's what
about?
They did. Did you see my show? That's what they did on that Kiss the Boy, isn't it, on the BBC?
Yeah, exactly.
They put a woman into a gay man's environment, and not then only wondered why she wasn't being successful in the dating pool.
And not only is it putting those gay men in a really awkward situation, but also her as well.
Yes. Everybody must have been traumatized.
Yeah, and it's like all this for titillation. I don't think that optic works as well as they think it does, or maybe they don't care. I don't know, but it all feels again very facile, very manipulative, and for show. You know, it's all for show. Everything's bloody for show these days.
It's to bend the knee. I often joke, but I do often see these people, especially in the media, which is poisonous, by the way. The whole entertainment industry is poisonous on so many levels because they're all thick as crap. You they are. You take their careers away, and they happen by luck to get a job working in a supermarket. They would be out of their depth. They wouldn't know what to do because they're not real people, and they are.
Or it's RTDs, like, you know, you don't want these people selling shoes.
Shoes, that whole thing was ridiculous.
Do you remember that when he said that? That writers like it was disgusting. Oh, it's contemptible and beneath you, is it there, Russell? Well, you know, good luck walking around barefoot. Then go on.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me angry.
It made me angry because you can't get decent shoe sellers anymore.
That's true. They don't even measure your feet anymore. Have you noticed?
No, they don't, and they should because it's important.
Mm-hmm.
But I just you look at all those people in that industry, and I can't believe that they feel that they have this ability to be able to preach to the world, and then they're all hypocritical, as we said at the top of the show. I just think, shut up, the lot of you. Just shut up. Go away.
Well, I mean,
I hope it's bursting. I hope the bubble's bursting, PB.
Oh, well, I hope so, but also I'm afraid of the flip side as well, because they've managed to agitate so much that the backlash is going to be horrific, and that's through their own creation. They are to blame for doing this. It wasn't a problem before. They've made that problem exist.
Yes, they
and that
created their
terrified
own problems because they didn't have anything to be challenged by. Because we did a lot of the work in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the turn of the century. And then they've come along with their ridiculous ideas and their far left ideologies. The world won't bend to their ways. So suddenly they've created issues. And then it's escalated to the point where we're in now, where you're getting people that used to be one community fighting against each other.
Yeah, and it again, it's atomizing, isn't it? It's fracturing our society into ever smaller, ever decreasing circles. Another great TV show.
Oh, that was brilliant, wasn't it? I love that. Richard Briers, what a legend!
I loved it. So yeah, it's worrying because you're ending up with a situation now where you've got a whole generation coming up who are absolutely terrified of making the wrong move. You've got boys who are unable or unwilling to ask girls out, or even gays don't want to ask other gays out because they might be part of the TQ cult.
Yes,
it's so divisive and everything is so politicized that you can't move. And I feel really sorry for the younger generation and growing up with this, because they have so much of an obstacle to overcome, not only from the TQ plus cult, but also from the rise of the alleged far right as well, because you're gonna get a severe reaction to the LGBTQ plus, which, whether or not you agree with it, you're going to get caught up in it as much as I am.
Yes.
We're
into it as well.
We were the canaries in the coal mine going, don't do this, because you do this, you're going to turn everyone against us. Homosexual acceptance has gone through the floor since these people have kicked on.
The rise of
and it's
homophobia,
not the far right,
people,
it's you.
Yes, they have contributed 100% to the rise of homophobia across the world, not just
whilst doing it themselves, by the way.
They've done it. They've been responsible, and I will hold them responsible. And all these people that are now in it, protecting these vile ideologies.
Shame on them.
They can't see it, can they?
They can't. And it's not. The worst part is you've got straight people like Tennant and all this backing all this, and it's like you do not know what you are doing, and not only that, it's like, I never thought, back in the 90s when we sort of managed to knock on the head the whole Q word thing, that homophobic slur, I never thought I'd have to hear it again. But now you hear it on the news, from newsreaders talking about queer community, this Q, and I'm like, I never want to hear that word again. I'm still traumatized from when I had a good damn kicking from, people who use that word as I was bleeding out my leg.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that. And you straight people now going around, it's not their fault necessarily. I again blame it on the LGBTQ plus community, whatever that is, because we all apparently live in the same street and go around each other's houses for tea and sugar. I just find that it's so accepted now as a word, and I'm like, well, no one asked me, no one from my community.
No, where was the vote? Where was the vote? Yeah, I never got it either.
That's the thing. It's this very foisted upon elitism. No democracy in there whatsoever.
No,
at all. No. Who's making these diktats? I'd love to know.
And then there was the punishment through the bars that we all propped up for years and years and years, when they jumped on the bandwagon, started flying that bloody awful flag from America, which has the heterosexual bit in it as well now, which is the pink, the white, the blue, the brown, the black. That represents to me heterosexuality, which takes over most of the whole of the original.
Well, it represents Marxism to me. It doesn't represent. It just represents a political movement. It doesn't represent any form of identity or whatever, or sexuality. Nothing at all to do with that. It's just become subverted by radicals. And I just find that, hold on a minute. Who decided that who you choose to be with has an impact on who you vote for? Or it's irrelevant.
Totally.
There's no individuality there at all. And there was a word used for Jewish collaborators in Nazi Germany. Sorry, I said the word. But they were called capos because they would be the ones sort of helping the bad guys load them into, you know, or into the trains, or you know, run about doing the deeds of the soldiers or whatever at the camps, you know, doing all the bit. And they were called capos,
right?
And I see the sort of collaborator element with these radicals in this much the same way. You're useful idiots who are doing the bidding of people who will harm us eventually. So maybe I should call them quapos.
Well, that's what I mean. This is where the whole argument of, I mean, we're nearly coming to the end of our time, but
Sure.
it's nearly where the argument that RTD himself also pushes, and I see this a lot now from the TQ cult towards me, is that if you do not get on board with this, they will come for you now, because this minority genuinely believe, as part of the TQ cult, that if it's not LGBTQ, then we're all at risk. Well, hang on a minute. You have just invited a hell of a lot of heterosexual men with issues and some heterosexual women with issues into your community who had nothing to do with us before. So what are you doing? What do you mean? Because as far as I'm concerned, you've already come for us because you're the ones that have destroyed what LGBT people had for decades. You have handed our achievements of same-sex attracted men and women, a lot of whom are no longer with us. You had handed those achievements to people that weren't at the throwing or at the start of the 1969 Stonewall riot. There were no transgenders there. You have handed other things to them. You have made them the saviors of LGBT rights. I have been told on countless occasions by idiots, you owe your rights as a gay man to transgenders. No, I bloody don't, because heterosexuals had nothing to do with it.
It's so bloody insulting. It's almost like saying, oh, the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, it was aliens, because they couldn't have possibly have done that themselves.
It was the same mentality that built the pyramids.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, look, I think a lot of this stems down to the fact that the working class in this country and in the West in general did not behave or do as they were told by the Marxists who wanted them to be radicalized and to have their communist revolution. So they dispensed with them, demonized the working class as far-right evil bigots, and then formed a coalition. It's all a numbers game because they have to replace the working class with some group of oppressed people. So that's where the DEI and the, you know, brown and black people and gays and trans and and that's what it is. It's just another group of people to be used as useful idiots for their agenda. That's what it's about.
It's ultimately such a shame because we worked so hard. We got rid of the labels, we got rid of the segregation, and
well, they thought we had
all back.
I know.
It's all back now. You've got to fit in boxes. You've got to be able to be described. You've got to have a label.
And where's the individuality in that? It's like individuality is almost frowned upon. Well, it's not frowned. It's actively oppressed. You know, suppressed.
Yeah,
they don't want you to be an individual. They want you to be subsumed into this collective culture. Not that it's an actual
where they can judge you as well.
Well, you all have to say exactly the same words in exactly the same time, in exactly the same way, and you mustn't veer off from the script. You have to be on the plantation.
Yeah.
And that in it of itself is as bigoted as you can get. And if you cannot accept that other people have difference of beliefs and you refuse to acknowledge or accept those differences and actively quash them or try to, you are the bigots. You are the fascists. The definition of bigotry is a refusal to accept other people have a different opinion. Effectively, if you look in any dictionary definition, it's there. But yeah, these people don't read, so what do I?
Well, listen, you and I could go on for hours and hours and hours, but we don't have hours.
We'll have to talk about Doctor Who at some point.
At some point we will, but yeah. But no,
that's my fault. I'm boomers and millennials. Not all of you. I'm sorry. I did. didn't mean to put you all in the same hotbed, but I did notice there is a pattern there, and that's all. But no, I love our community, and I love our older members, and older members sounds a bit rude, but no, I mean it's.
No, we've got all ages on Who's Views, and I love it. I treasure it because I love when I get together on the live show because I know people are going to be there.
Yeah,
people are going to be there and they're going to chat with me, and it's going to be great. And I love it. It's just
fantastic. I'm talking in general terms, and I'm not attacking anyone individually.
No, of course not. I think people will know. I think people on our channel are mature enough to understand that.
Yeah, look, we're all honest. We can see where these things started,
exactly.
And we can see where the university professors are and what age, and where the millennials started kicking off on Twitter. It's not everybody, and we all know we're all here because we all understand.
Well, we've got people of our generation that, I mean, how many friends have I lost in the last 8-9 years because I won't bend the knee, you know? And I've been called ist, phobe, ot by people I had known for years and should know better. It's happening up until the last week where I've lost a couple of people who obviously were not friends because they won't tolerate the fact that I'm questioning something they've said to me.
No loss.
But,
no loss. No loss.
No, I know, but listen, we could go on for ages and ages and ages, but I want to say thank you very much for coming back for another chit chat. Really appreciate it. I also want to say a huge thank you very much for our beautiful theme tune for the Sarah Jane Adventures reviews that we're doing. That went down a storm with our viewers. They love it.
I'm really thrilled. I was very very touched by a lot of the comments, and it was lovely to see. And I just think I've not been making music for a long time. It was a joy to be able to revisit some old files, like gathering dust on the computer and going, oh, that could be useful.
And to let you all know as well, everybody, it doesn't stop there because PB has given us a brand new theme tune for our Carry On film reviews, and he's also put together a brand new theme tune for our general Who's Views shows. You're going to have to wait for it because it's coming up. So you're going to have to wait for that. But I can tell you, having heard it, of course, it's beautiful. It's stunning. And I'm so pleased. So again, PB, thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. I'm thrilled. I am thrilled. Please give us a thumbs up for this version of another chit chat with myself and PB. Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Give us a hype if you want to as well, because apparently that does something. It's all exciting, isn't it? But
never seen it. Never seen this button. Where is it? I don't keep adding things I can't see. I don't know about it.
It's somewhere there. I think you have to scroll across for it. But listen, from PB and myself, thanks for joining us for this chit chat. If you want to come on a chit chat, please get in touch. whosviews1@gmail.com. It'd be great to hear from you. PB, once again, thanks for being with me. Really enjoyed it.
Really, I enjoyed it too. Thank you.
And until the next time, thank you very much. Ta-ra, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.